welcome to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda and we're here today to show you how to make 8 at a time half square triangles, and we've got a cute little block that goes with this little lesson. But first I want to talk to you about Michelle at the Simple Quilter. She's making some beautiful things and she's having a lot of fun on her channel. So when you go there to check her out, because her YouTube link is going to be in the show notes below, tell her that Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you. I mean, this is something we're doing all the time with all of our videos. We're giving shout outs and we're directing you to other people, right? Just so you can kind of, you know, have a chance to maybe meet somebody you haven't met before. Also in those show notes, you're going to find our Facebook group, and we are making use of those rooms feature in Facebook for those groups. So we're also doing all the sharing of post, you know, pictures and all the stuff, and asking questions and, you know, all this. But I also load in all the FP or PDF patterns there as well. So you go help yourself there if you join that group. The other thing is going to be in the show notes below is our Zoom link, where we have a monthly sew date, and the dates are all there from now until December. Just for the people that don't know about this, they're all there for you to make plans to come join us and sew with us for the day. Some of the summer ones might be a little longer. We're not sure yet, depending on how I feel and how busy life is, because I have 3 grandchildren that I love dearly, and it's busy some days. Also, share, like, and subscribe. Comments help us out, and as long as we're getting comments and, you know, we're doing well, we can continue giving you guys free patterns. And this is something that, you know, a lot of people don't really like to talk about, but yeah, it's like, you know, share, like, subscribe, tell your friends, you know, tell everybody you know, tell your guilds, because we do give free speaking engagements out too, because we're trying to help the guilds out now because they had a hard time during the pandemic. So come on in, we're going to show you how to do 8 at a time half square triangles. Okay, so here we are, we're going to do 8 at a time, and I'm sure you have seen this, and we're going to make 2 of them for the block, because the block I want to make is going to have 4 half square triangles by 4 half square triangles, and there's so many things you can make once you have that, you know, that number. You need 16 triangles, right? Half square triangles. Now, my magic wand broke, so it is not long enough to go across this 7 3/4 piece of fabric. So what I did is I lined it up point to point, and I drew my line, and then I went a scant quarter, like, I mean, I put my 1/4 inch line just on this side of the pencil mark and drew another line, right? And then I flipped it around and I put my line of 1/4 inch. I just line this up so it's just kissing the inside middle line to get my scant quarter, and again I drew it with a pencil. So now what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to change feet because obviously I got the wrong foot on again. All you see me do is change feet on this machine. But it's such a nice machine. Okay, there we go. Okay, now, so what we're going to do is we're going to sew along this line first and then back up. And we're going to do it twice because we need 16 triangles. Now, when I've pinned them along the cut line. So you're only going to sew this way and then this way, right? So anyway, let's get going here on this. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So I want to sew on the line because that will give me my scant quarter. My scant 1/4 inch. There we go. Nice. Now, there are disadvantages to using this method, and I'm going to tell you the disadvantages right now. If your scraps are not big enough, because I have my scraps, when I'm thinking of my scraps, I'm thinking of them being less than a fat 1/4. So my scraps, there's some colors, because I've been beating down my scraps for so long, that I probably don't have fabric in my scraps for some of my colors to make this. Now you just pull out your thread just a little as you're turning that corner and going down the other way. So if your scraps are tiny, right, you're not going to be able to use this. If you want a scrappy block, like basically I've used 2 of the same dark blues, right? And it's, you know, it's going to work, but at the same time, I have no variety in my scraps, right? I don't, for block, I mean, I'm just going to make a block of, you know, blue like after triangle. So there's the big disadvantage on this, is it doesn't give you variety unless you're doing stacks and stacks and stacks of these. And then, okay, then you have some variety going on, you know. But, like I say, in some of my scraps are not big enough to do this. So it would be, it's tough, it would be tough for me to do like this method. And I know some people keep, you know, they don't keep stuff this big in their scraps, right? So it's kind of like, you know, it depends on the size of your scraps, how useful this is. It is useful if you're making, or needing to make a bunch at once. Now, the idea of sewing on the line helps speed you along, because once you do this sewing on the line, you've already got your scant 1/4 inch, right? Okay, let me just get this out of the way, and we'll just pick this up, base up just a little bit. Oh, my speaking engagements have been going really well, and this was a lot of fun to be doing the speaking engagements. I am meeting so many lovely people. I can't believe it. It just like amazes me what has happened in our quilting journey. So it's been really cool. So there we go. That's the last of. Okay, and we'll just put these 2 together. Just put them underneath. Okay, so now we're I'm going to change feet because I'm going to do I'm going to need my 1/4 inch foot for this next bit. Okay. Now what's going to happen? Oops. Hang on. What is going on here? Okay. So I'm just going to grab my rotary cutter and a ruler and a cutting mat, and I'm just going to put this behind here. There we go. Now, so I can take these pins out now because I don't need them to secure the work, because the work has been secured, right? So I don't need them in place anymore. And I put like 4 pins so this doesn't shuffle, right? But you do you when it comes to pinning. I know there's some people that they hate pinning, and it ruins the whole experience of quilting if they have to pin a bunch of things, right? So I am just on a hinge right here, so I'm going to get off the hinge a bit. Now I'm going to line it up best I can on my original drawn line. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to spin this just a bit, just to get it past the hinge. And we're going to go like this. Right? Now I have 2 extra drawn lines here. So now I haven't moved anything here. So you're going to put that right in the middle there. And right in the middle here. And now you have 8. Very quick, very simple, easy to do. And of course, we're going to just do this again real quick. So you do your angles first. You want to get all of your fabric on the cutting mat, because it would be bad to cut your mom's sewing table. My mom is gone, but I have the memories of don't damage this, don't do that, don't you know, so it's kind of, as a kid, you get these little messages all the time, and as an adult, you're kind of like, oh, she's probably watching, going, don't do that to my table. My sewing table. It is showing some wear and tear, so probably should look at refinishing it, but I'm not sure what I'd refinish it with. So, okay. So there we go. That's it in a nutshell. Right? So now we have all 16 triangles. And like I say, they're all the same fabric. So I'm going to get rid of this and the cutting tape, my rotary cutter. So before I open them up, I do a really deep, steep trim just to remove bulk from the corners. Because where you're joining these, you're going to have lots of bulk if you don't, right? So some people just trim it so it's just like straight. I go in a little deeper just to help with that bulk in the corners. Okay. Well, yeah, when we're doing these, it's almost nice to pick one size when you're doing like a scrappy triangle block that we're going to be doing here in a bit. As soon as I get past showing you how to make 8 at a time, twice. So when you're doing real scrappy ones, they're just so much fun because you can play with all the different colors, and it's kind of cool. But there's many layouts for these. Like there's a lady that wrote a book. I cannot remember her name right now. Anyways, she said the possibility of half square triangles in a 4x4 layout was, you know, like a whole lot. And then if you go to a 25, like a 5x5 layout, right, you exponentially improve your laying out of your triangles. So, and there's all sorts of things you can do with half square triangle blocks too, right? And then there's nothing wrong with having blocks all go the same direction either. There's nothing wrong with that. So now I should iron these, but I'm not. I'm going to be daring today. Just pick up all my little shards of cotton, and I press to the dark because that's where I want to be. So I'm going to just start laying them out. And you can lay them out any way you want. You could make pinwheels. You could do anything with this right now, you know, because it's just all. You can make 4 pinwheels out of these blocks and then sew them all together. So that would be cute too. But we're going to do something very. This is one my mom did. She had a bunch of suiting, wool suiting. And she had gotten a bunch of heavy cotton, like low volume cotton, and she kind of made this triangle quilt, and this is what the block was. It was just triangles, half square triangles, all set the same direction, and because of the colors and the shading and the, you know, it was wool, so it was really heavy quilt to sleep under, but nice under in a cold Canadian winter night, you know, to sleep under. So that's what she did. Oops. Yeah. Anyway, so it was one of those quilts that I just thought, oh, this is such a cute quilt when it's done, you know. And it is just a pretty little quilt. Now this thing was, because these are measure 3.5 when we're done, right? This block will be a 12.5 inch block. Unfinished and 12-inch finished, right? So now we're just going to grab and sew, and we don't have to worry too much about stuff. And yes, we are using the favorite webbing technique because I'm that kind of a person. I like my webbing. Now when you lay the blocks out this way, you haven't got too much bulk because you only got 2 triangles that are putting in extra stuff or extra fabric. You've only got 2 points, so that's kind of nice. Well, we'll see how well we do with this block. And here we go. Okay. Oh. Okay, next one up is this. And here we go. Okay. Alright, now, so we're going to open this up. And because all of the blocks are going the same way, this becomes kind of a easier way of doing things. Just open them up and you sew them. Yeah. There we go. Just like that. Yeah. Yeah, they're just pretty sometimes when they're oriented all the same way. I think the layout then is called Ocean Waves, but don't quote me on that. Because remember, we're here to show you how to do 8 at a time half square triangles. It's like, yeah, but I think this is called Ocean Waves, but or it could be. There's different blocks that are called different things. I was looking at that Barbara Bachman encyclopedia the other night, and some of those quilts blocks have something like 40 names. It's like, good grief, you know. It's like, or not 40, 14 names. And I was like quite surprised how some of the names were actually regionalized, right? So, you know, the South was calling it one thing and the North was calling it something else. Which is kind of interesting. And okay, now, all right. And we'll get the last 3. But yeah, that Barbara Bachman encyclopedia is a really good, it doesn't give any pattern sizes or anything, but it gives lots of ideas. I find it gives me lots of ideas. Some of you have been asking, where do you get all your ideas from? Well, I do the Barbara Bachman encyclopedia, and then I look at blocks and I start, okay, I could change this, I could change that, I could do this, I could do that, and next thing you know, right, like that, and the next thing you know, I've come up with something that is different again. So it's like, and that's okay. Alright, and another little, there we go. Okay, there we go. Now, we've got them all going one way, so now we want to do them this way. So we just want to put them in rows like this, and I think what we're going to do is I'm going to open this up so I can see where my nesting needs to be. Okay, so my nesting needs to be right there. Okay. There we go. See, I can, once I web them, I clip them, and then I can get in there and really see what I'm sewing and where I need to be nesting. Because that's, for this block, that's kind of important. Oops, I'm losing this point here all the time. Okay, there you go. Now, there we go. Okay. These little ones are so nice to sew together. These little crumbs. You sew them together and then you trim them. You sew them to a bigger block or like a odd shaped block, and then you trim them and they work. So there we are so far, and we've got good nesting, right? Good nesting is happening. I'm not missing my points or anything, so we'll just continue on. And like I say, this would, for me, this looks great, but it would look better if it was scrappy. It's kind of one of those kind of biases I have on scrappy happy stuff. So okay, so now I'm gonna make sure this works nice. Okay, nice. There. And this. So one row you sew, okay, so one row you sew down and the other row you sew up, right? So, and you can always tell when you're especially when you do webbing, this row now has to go up, this one has to go up, this one was going down. So now you're going to iron it that way too, right? So you don't lose where you were or what you were doing. And you haven't got a twisted seam, which is always nice not to have. You know, a twisted seam is one side is going up and the other side is going down. That's never fun. Okay. Okay, now last row. Now I could sew it this way, and I think I'm going to sew it with the bottom on top, because then you see this one goes down, that one goes up, this one goes down, so you can see it better. Because if I went the other way, it might confuse you. So okay, now with the needle down, I clip where I've webbed. And now get in there exactly. There. Now this is just a fun little idea. Like I say, you could do a stack of them. Make a nice little quilt. Or just have, you know, a staple. If you like working at a 3.5 inch scale, you know, this is such a nice. And okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, now there is math with this, and are we ready for some quilt math? Maybe. So your finished size on this block here is 3 inches. So the quilt math now is for your finished size, you add another 4 3/4, like for this size, right? So if you want a 3.5, you cut like a 7 3/4 square, both light and dark, and there you go. So I'll give this a good press and we'll get to our ta-da moment. But like my points came out pretty good. So anyways, we'll get to our ta-da moment in a minute. So this is our 4x4 half square triangles, or our 8 at a time half square triangles demo or demonstration. It is a free pattern Friday because this basic block can be twisted and turned around in any description, any number of different ways, and if it's done scrappy, it's absolutely stunning. So you guys might want to give this a try. The only problem with doing it 8 at a time, your scraps have to be fairly large, and if you don't keep large scraps like that, it could be tough. This did finish at 12.5 unfinished, and 12 inches finished in the quilt. Everything lined up on the first go. So if you wanted to make a 3.5 inch half square triangle, you cut your pieces at 7 3/4. Now I will put a list of things on how big to cut everything in the description notes too. So if you wanted to make like 4-inch finish or 5-inch finish, then you at least have that in the description box. You'll be able to follow along with that. So I hope you give this one a try. Like, this is a lot of fun to do. So until we meet again, I hope you have an absolutely outstanding week ahead. Okay, bye! My husband and I would love to thank you for all of the amazing people that we have met along this crazy YouTube adventure that we've been having. We do free speaking engagements too, so if you're part of a guild and they're looking for, you know, people to talk and, you know, and chat with, you know, in their monthly meetings, tell them that I'm doing free ones just to help the guilds out, because it's been a tough time for the guilds as well. You know, share, like, and subscribe with your friends. You know, make sure that they're, you know, they get the word out on us. That's the best way you can do to help us out. So until we meet again, I want to thank you. Okay, goodbye.